All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Quill and Query podcast. My name is Brandon Hall. As always, I'm joined today by my wonderful co-host Ash. Ash, how are you doing today?
I'm freezing, Brandon. How are you doing?
I'm also freezing, but I like to be freezing, so I don't
Yeah.
know. I prefer the cold. I think I said this a million times before, but I am enjoying it until we get the humid summers down here. So
Yeah.
um,
No kidding.
keep the cold weather coming. Although I don't get snow down here really at all, so I miss like the fun visual aspect of the cold.
Did you get any snow with this most recent storm?
No, we didn't. It's a rare thing down here. I think we got some last year, and that was like first in a while.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's. But I did get my snow fix when I traveled to New York for the holidays, so I
Okay.
do get to see it, occasionally.
There we go. Nice. And before we continue, there's no echo. I don't have headphones in today, so I just want to make sure there's
Mhm.
no echo, like double echo that you're hearing. I should have asked that beforehand.
I don't hear anything. I also have echo cancellation turned on for both of
Okay,
us in
great.
the Riverside, which I think usually covers. Like I
Cool.
think when we've had an echo in the past, that usually fixes it. So if
Great.
it's there, shouldn't show up in post.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, we were promised a snowmageddon, and we did not get the snowmageddon, but we did get a couple inches of ice on top of the snow, which has yet to melt. So
Hmm.
everything's still very icy and chilly. And I think I woke up this morning and the temperature was like 11 degrees, and I was like, "This is
Yeah.
crazy." And our house is old, so it's just super drafty and chilly. But could have
Oh
been
yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
We kept our power. No one around in our neighborhoods needed like any help or any for like emergencies, so I was happy about
Hmm.
that. But anyway,
Well, that's
just
always
trying to
good.
stay warm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you can do. Well, we don't have a guest today, as everyone can plainly see. We're going to be doing kind of our more laid back year in review episode like we did last year. So just a little bit of a casual look back at 2025 and look ahead at 2026. Um, so yeah, super excited to talk about some of our goals and our learnings from the past year. I feel like we had some ups and downs in, at least I did. I don't know about you. I had a lot of ups and downs when it came to writing.
Yeah.
So
Can't wait to talk about
excited.
it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess let's jump right into it. But before we talk writing, let's talk reading.
Yeah.
So last year, I'm sure you read a lot of books. I didn't read as many as I wanted to.
Yeah.
I missed my reading goal by a few books, but did you have any favorite reads that you picked up last year? Whether it came out last year or it's just something that's like been sitting on your TBR.
Yeah.
What were the highlights of your reading journey for 2025?
So I also had a really rough reading year. I didn't really read as much as I thought. I got a Kindle, which was kind of a big deal. I had been a bit of a Kindle purist for a while. Not Kindle purist, book purist for a while, and then I thought maybe this will help me read more, and it ended up doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't read as much as I wanted to. I read more than I did the year before, though, which is great. I didn't have a goal because I've been working on how to handle goals for myself
Right.
personally. Um, but the two that stood out to me as last year's reads were The Raven Scholar and The Starving Saints. I read The Raven Scholar as an advanced copy early last year in like January. I loved it. I think in my review I use the example of like it was like Avatar the Last Airbender and Arcane if they kind of came together. Like very East Asian inspired without relying too heavily on East Asian cultures or like kind of adopting it inappropriately.
Mm-hmm.
The main character is like a woman of color in her early 30s, like very self-assured. It was funny while also kind of a fresh take on like political fantasy. So it was really good. I really loved it. I thought it was like quick. It kept me entertained. It made me laugh a few times. And then The Starving Saints was also a big one that I know a lot of people that we are friends with also read. Um, Follows three women who are all kind of trapped. They are all starving in this kind of like castle, and all of a sudden, the saints that they all believe in appear, but they're not quite what you think they are, and it kind of turns into this like trippy mess. But it was really good. It kept me engaged. It was
I was
interesting and fresh and new, so I
yeah.
really loved it. Yeah.
I was trying to determined from a quick Google search was there was a book recently that, or not recently, but last year that you and I think one of our guests were talking about that had like cannibalism. Was
Yeah,
it
that's it.
in that one?
That's
Okay,
one. Yeah,
because
yeah,
there
yeah.
that was one I was supposed to put on my list, just because the
Yeah.
way you guys were talking about it was sounded really interesting. So
It is. It was a cool take on the cannibalism, if there can be a cool take on cannibalism.
yeah.
But like, these kind of saints mess with your mind. So like, are they
Mhm.
eating humans? Are they not? Who's to say? So really cool. And there's like very little romance in it, which I was expecting there to be like way more of that, and I was pleasantly surprised that there wasn't. I didn't read a lot of romance last year. Sorry, Mira is kind of going crazy in the
Okay,
background.
fine.
Um, so yeah, those were the two that stuck out to me. I reread a bunch of fan fiction. It's kind of like comfort reads. So yeah, nothing. Those were the two that I loved. They had like 5 stars for sure.
Yeah.
And I think I liked Lady Macbeth that came out, but that was kind of like a some people weren't into it. I
Mhm.
like that one. So yeah, nothing aside from those two, nothing wild. What about you?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't read as much as I wanted to last year. So there's one book that was a new release last year that I really enjoyed. That was The Devils by Joe Abercrombie.
Mm.
I don't really have a lot to say on it other than it's typical Abercrombie, but like even more fast paced, and it really does lean into like it the humor, his witty humor. So if you're not into that, you probably won't like it. But the book that stood out to me the most is actually a really old one. It's Dream Songs by George R. R. Martin, and I think
Oh.
I've talked about it a little bit before. It's like a collection of his early works,
Mm.
a lot of his short stories and novellas, kind of interspersed with biographies, I guess, like mini biographies where he's talking about his publishing career, the state of the industry at that time, and like kind of walks you through his publishing journey and gives you a taste of his work
Oh, cool.
throughout it. So it was a really cool experience, and it kind of further cemented that Martin is my favorite author because I say that a lot, but I feel like most of what I've read from him is A Song of Ice and Fire related.
Mhm.
So I wanted to expand my Martin, I guess, palette. I don't know what I would call
Yeah,
it.
Martin
And
Palette.
try some of his earlier works, and I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of really good short stories in there,
Nice.
and the publishing insights were really cool. It was really interesting to see like how different our industry is now compared to then, because back then, at least when he was writing, like short stories were the way you broke into
Mm. Oh, interesting.
publishing. At least like that's the message I was getting. And nowadays I feel like it's almost impossible to sell a short story unless you're already like a named author or like a
Yeah.
recognizable name. Even in self-publishing, people, from what I've seen, are more likely to pick up like a novel or a new
Mhm.
series before they'll pick up like an anthology or something, which is interesting to me because
Yeah.
I've always thought a short story is a good way to gauge whether you like an author or not, because it's a small commitment.
Mhm.
So like you don't have to you're not putting as much on the line. You don't have to worry about DNFing because you
Sure.
have like maybe 50 pages. But yeah, it was just really interesting to see how different our industry is in terms of like how you break in and what's popular and
Yeah.
what you can sell and
It's
all of
it's
that.
interesting you say that. I've never been a short story person up until,
Hmm.
working on the anthology,
Yeah.
which we'll get into, but I've never been someone drawn to short stories only because I am such a long form content person. Even on
Hmm.
YouTube, I'm watching like hour long to 5 hour long like video
Yeah.
essays. And so it's a good reminder to challenge myself in the short story world, and I'm trying to read my first read this year was more of a novella, so like obviously longer than a short story, but kind of in the shorter genre. And I
Yeah.
really loved it. But in reading a lot of advanced copies in the last 6 months, which I've been really loving, it kind of helps me engage with what I'm reading a bit more than being kind of just like a passive, oh, this is popular and I'm
Yeah.
or like I'm interested in the author already. I've noticed like when I read the bios of the authors, so many of them are in so many anthologies for a while. Like you can just see
Hmm.
their resume is a lot of short story anthology work or like published in a magazine or something like that. And it kind of especially in the last couple months, I've been writing down and coming up with short story ideas so that I can work on that and submit that and get kind of my name out there more.
Yeah,
But it still seems, maybe it's just not the common advice, but it's still, from what I've noticed thus far, at least with the advanced copies I've been getting lately, is like, oh yeah, like a lot of these debut authors with their first novels have been in so many
yeah,
anthologies or like had their stories published elsewhere. So it's really interesting you say that, because it's like a little reminder that that's still like an avenue that you can do as a writer. You don't have to go
hmm
right to book.
yeah,
um, which it seems counterintuitive when you're working on a book to like take any kind of break away from
yeah, yeah. I
that.
feel that
But yeah,
because I have so many short story ideas. I love short
yeah,
stories.
yeah,
I have I have a document with, and my short stories are all in a single document now that Google allows me to do tabs.
right,
So I have like a dozen that I'm sure I'm going to write, and then I have like a bunch that are like we're gonna see how these go. But
yeah. I'm
yeah,
trying to do some genre dipping too. I'm sure you're doing the
mhm,
same with your short stories of like,
yeah,
I've got one that's horror. I mean, it kind of more like folk horror-y,
mhm,
still a little bit of magic but never quite, and then something kind of like soft, well, it's still in my genre but soft fantasy, but trying to also expand more to like maybe some sci-fi stuff in the future, which I know you have been wanting to read more of as well.
yeah, yeah,
um
very much.
yeah,
Yeah, I think short stories are a great way to see how you do with another genre like that. Like
yeah,
I have a bunch of sci-fi short stories. I have maybe a couple horror that I they're also fantasy though, so like it's
yeah,
fantasy
yeah,
horror.
yeah,
But yeah, I love short stories, writing them, reading them.
yeah.
Um,
Next
actually,
anthology, we're gonna do another one.
yeah,
We're gonna
I posed the question in the Discord for another anthology to see what everyone's like.
Oh, did you? I missed
Sure.
that.
Yeah, yeah, check it out. It's so we got a few responses. I did the kind of the genre question, like, would you guys want fantasy again? Do you want to do
Mm,
sci-fi or do you want to do horror? And obviously, you can kind of like you can blur the lines between some of those a little
sure,
bit. So,
that's cool.
but yeah,
Awesome.
I now that it's been like almost a year since Blades for Hire, I'm kind of
Mhm.
itching to do another one. So,
Yeah,
yeah, there might be another one on the way soon. We'll see.
I love that. Are there before we kind of move on, are there any books that you're looking forward to having to read in 2026?
The Winds of Winter, I'll say every year. It's um
It's so funny.
yeah, well, it's funny. I have a Game of Thrones Discord or Song of Ice and Fire Discord that I'm in, and I have like a tier list in there of the years I think Winds of Winter is going to release. It's there's 2026 is next up. If it's
Mm,
not 2026, I said 2028. I forget my rationale for that.
yeah.
After 2028, I take a 3 year gap to 2031 because it's the 20-year anniversary of A Dance with Dragons. So
Oh,
that's my next prediction. But
okay. That's a good prediction, though. I kind of like that
yeah, it's. I mean,
methodology.
with I don't know. Did you see Martin's latest interview with Hollywood Reporter? He dropped a couple bombshells in there. So
No, I didn't. No. You know me.
um,
I don't I love the world, but I wasn't the biggest fan of his writing, so I don't
yeah,
really keep
yeah,
my ear on the ground as much as I think you do.
yeah. No, I was just curious because it was he dropped a lot of like big news in this interview. So like there's 1100 pages of Winds of Winter written according to this interview, which was
God.
late last year. So I mean, enough material for a full book. He doesn't want to. To him that's 75% done. So I think 1500 pages is where he's targeting.
Sorry to pick
Oh
my jaw off the floor.
yeah,
Holy
it's
cow. How
that
does one write that much? Then
yeah.
that's okay. Before you continue, sorry, I'm interrupting, but
No, you're fine.
it seems I just is this before edits? Is this like approved as he goes along? I have so
So
many questions in that regard.
I I don't know if he specified, but I mean, with how long it's been, I would like to think that his editors have like seen the first half of the book or something.
Sure.
I would imagine they've wanted to get ahead of it so that when he's done, they can like hit the ground running with it. But
Yeah.
I know when he talks the page count, a lot of times he's referring to like his manuscript page count, which is differed from which
I
differs
see.
from the the published page count. So
Okay.
I think I
Got it.
forget how many manuscript pages A Dance with Dragons was, but it was close to 1,500. But I think the final book, like when it was in print, came out to like 1,100 something.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so who knows what Winds of Winter will end up being if we ever get it. But yeah, that's always my number one answer when we start the year is yeah, the Winds of Winter.
Winds of
Maybe.
Windsor. Fingers
Um,
crossed.
outside of that, there is one book I am looking forward to that I will allow myself to break my book buying ban for. It is a new book from Veronica Roth, who I read a lot as
Oh yeah.
a teen. She did the Divergent
Yeah.
books.
Really like those.
Yeah, I loved those when I was younger. So this is kind of more like I think it's more adult fantasy.
Okay.
Might be young adult. I'm not entirely sure, but the premise is interesting. It's called Seek the Traitor's Son, and
Ooh.
let me see before I butcher the description. Let me get the okay. It is a new romantic dystopian fantasy set to release in May
Ooh.
2026, featuring a prophecy, warring nations, and yeah. So it sounds kind of like we're leaning more towards romantasy, but it's been a while
Interesting.
since I've read a Veronica Roth book, and I really want to see how she handles fantasy because
Yeah.
I haven't really revisited a lot of authors that I liked from kind of that age range. So
Yeah.
it'll be curious to see like if my tastes have changed or if I still enjoy her writing.
Especially if it's like a romance, like kind of
Yeah, it's not
avenue.
typically
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
not typically what I go for, but I'm not opposed to them. It's just not usually what I'm picking
Yeah.
up. So,
No, of course.
what about you though? Any upcoming releases you're looking forward to?
Um, let's see. I'm really looking forward to Inamorata by Ava Reed. I love anything Ava Reed does. She did Lady Macbeth and she's done a few others. Which I just like gothic, very like gothic romance, gothic horror uh stuff. So that's coming out, and I feel pretentious saying this out loud, but I just like it. It was an advanced copy that the publisher sent to me, which I'm
Mhm.
excited to like get, and then or I have it, but like it feels nice to have the publisher reach out to you and be like, hey,
Yeah.
would you want to review this? And then I just actually finished one that comes out this year. It's called Weaving Shaw. It's a gothic fantasy with like pretty good romance, but like slow burn.
Mhm.
That's coming out this year, and I just finished it, and it's my like first 5-star read of the year. I think I gave it 4.5 on all of the things. So that was exciting. I think Maggie Stiefvater's next novel comes out, her adult fantasy novel for the first time. She's always done YA. So
Mhm.
unless it already came out, I think that comes out this year. Let's see what else. I think those are the top 3. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. I was trying to think
Yeah.
like but I don't really have I don't have I don't follow authors
Mhm.
very much. I don't like keep track of like when they're publishing stuff. If it kind of comes across my feed, I'm like, ooh, bless you. Or
Thank you.
cough, thank you, bless you.
Yeah. Bless you. Yeah. Thank you.
um, I don't really like follow them, which I guess I should do more of, but it's
Mhm.
just kind of been one of those things where if it pops up like so and so has a new book coming out, I'm like, ooh, exciting stuff. But yeah, those are the 3 that I'm looking forward to the most. I'm sure I'll have a couple more come up as they get announced this year. So nothing crazy, nothing
Yeah.
wild. Yeah.
I feel like one thing I've tried to do in like the latter half of last year and going into this year is
Mm.
break free of the like I'm trying to think of the right word, the extreme consumerism that dominates the book space right now, where it's like you
Yeah.
have to buy all the latest books
Yeah.
with all the latest special editions. And
Hmm.
because I was definitely falling into that trap for a while where it's like, this new book came out, I gotta buy it. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, I haven't even read like the last 3 books by this author. So maybe I
Yeah.
need to slow down because they're sitting on my shelf over here and I
Yeah.
still
No,
got,
absolutely. I,
so that's kind of what led to my book buying ban because I was like, yeah, I have all these books that like it'd probably take me at least a year to finish all of these. So, um, yeah, we're gonna keep it slow, make exceptions for like the
yeah.
one I mentioned, The Winds of Winter. That's it.
That's
It's
it. No, I think that's like I know we've talked about it before, but maybe we should have that be a topic at a later time to like really delve into. Like maybe the proposed research topics I have like an
mhm,
idea for of just like books and consumerism, like how they have now become such an important component of book influencers or writer influencers. I think it's
mhm,
like it's one of the crappiest things that have come out of the book writing community is this like insatiable need or desire to have the big library, personal library is I think separate as a
mhm.
concept than it is from what we've been shown on TikTok and Instagram now.
Yeah.
It's almost like look at my book hauls, I get to add it to the shelf versus like I'm adding things that I genuinely like to my library or filling them with things that, would one day want to read. I don't know, it's like a strange balance, but I'm always shoved in the face with like, I went a little overboard at Barnes and Noble, which I
Yeah.
used to
Right.
love and do that,
Hmm.
but then yeah, I have the whole top shelf are all for except for a couple of them. They're all books that I haven't read that I've had on my bookshelf for years now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, like this year my book goal and I'm 4 in right now, which is pretty good for not even the end of the month, but my book goal is 40 books, which include all of the ones on my TBR. So we'll see if
Hmm.
I get there
40 books for the year.
for the year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
40 books for the year. And then that includes all of the ones here. And any books that I do read will either be advanced copies of stuff or from the library or on my shelf. I'm not buying any new ones.
Yeah.
For that reason, I don't know, it just becomes like such an exhausting cycle of like, oh, I don't have the newest one or the special edition ones. I'm a
Yeah. Yeah.
sucker for a special edition, but like every book now has a special edition, and you're like,
Right.
oh, what? Hi,
It's
Nicole.
almost like when a new book comes out, you're like, do I get it? Do I wait for the special edition that's
Yeah,
inevitably going to be
seriously.
announced? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exhausting.
And there are
Um,
a couple that I love, like Piranesi, I read a couple years ago. That's become like one of my ultimate favorites. And like, there's
mhm.
a really beautiful edition of one out there that I'm like, I let someone else borrow my current copy. And I was like, you know what? If this is a book that I'm going to read again and
Yeah,
again for sure, and I will offer to people to borrow. So like maybe I get a nicer copy. But is that
yeah, right.
capitalism talking or what? So
Well,
anyway.
I think that's more understandable to me. At least, like, I can justify that a lot more to myself. Where it's like, this is a book I really enjoyed. I want a nice,
Yeah.
pretty copy to put on the shelf. It's kind of like if you're selective with it, it's more purposeful. It's not just I have every special edition. It's not all the special editions are the books that really stood out to me and
Yeah.
left an impact.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
Nicole said, "Did I just buy the 10th anniversary edition of Six of Crows?" Yes.
I relate to that. Actually, just gonna pause our convo real quick because I just mentioned a book. I don't know if Nicole caught it, but Nicole, my review for this one on Tome was If Inez and Kaz Hunted Ghosts and Demons. It's called Weaving Shaw. I think you would absolutely love it. It's really good. You should get it when it comes out. Anyway, yes, I totally agree, Brandon. It's like the things that you know you're gonna love and cherish are
Hmm.
like the special editions of those make complete sense.
Yeah. Well, you have a much more ambitious reading goal than mine. Mine was like 2 books a month plus two because I was 26 for 2026. So I'm
Ah, that's
currently at
good.
0, so we're already behind.
You've
But
been sick?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so weird. A lot of people, I feel like when they're sick, oh, I'll catch up on TV that I wanted to watch, or I'll play a game, or I'll read a book. I
Uh-huh.
can't do anything when I'm sick because I'm just miserable. So I
Yeah.
don't want to do
No,
anything.
totally.
Um,
I'm
so
a
yeah, it put
I'm
me
a
behind.
repeat TV show person when I'm sick. I'm
Yeah,
like,
like
just
the
put a
comfort
TV show.
shows and
Yeah,
stuff, right? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
very much.
No, two a month is a good, yeah, that's a good one. I've had personally a lot of like trying to one of my goals, which I think we're gonna talk about later too, just like things we're looking forward to. But one of them is like keeping weekends as free as possible or not saying yes to everything so that I have
Yeah.
time to actually just like relax and read. And with the weather and stuff recently, I've been able to just do that. So I feel very
Mhm.
lucky in that regard.
Well, speaking of goals, I'm gonna segue into our writing goals, both from last year and this year. And I know this might be a little bit different since I know you said you're kind of working with goals a bit
Mm-hmm.
differently.
Mm-hmm.
But how I guess within that framework of how you're now approaching goals,
Mm-hmm.
how did your writing? How did you reach your writing goals last year? Like, did when when you started the year versus the end of the year, where did you end up? Were you happy with it? Did you want did you wish you wrote more? I think we always do. Um, and
Yes.
then how is that kind of informing going into this year with your plan for tackling a filthy hunger or the short stories, and what your
Yeah.
overall writing goals, if you have any, for the year
Mhm.
are?
So the first half of last year was a real challenge for me. I was really excited and happy with myself for completing the goal of getting the anthology story written. I
Mm-hmm.
learned a lot on how I write under pressure and what I can do better to create better work going forward. I don't think I really hit the. It wasn't even a eureka moment, but I can, you know, thank God to my therapist. Shout out to Paula for being so. I don't know what the word is, consistent in asking me about my writing process as part of our conversations, because it was
Mm-hmm.
causing me a lot of distress for a while. I struggle a lot with perfectionism and imposter syndrome and all of the things that most writers deal with. But I don't think I had a really good grasp on why goals are actually good to have. I was so anti goal for a really long time because I am a perfectionist. If I didn't hit goals, I would be so deeply disappointed in myself that that would cripple me for a while, and that the recovery period for that was almost worse than having a goal and not reaching it. So I don't know if that made sense, but I realized in the latter half of the year that actually goals are important.
Yeah.
Less in the way of like, if you don't hit this, you're a piece of trash, but more of like, you
Yeah.
need to be disciplined, right? My word last year, I don't do New Year's resolutions because I hate goals so much. But my word of the year last year was consistency. And I was really happy with consistency. I wrote or edited pretty consistently the second half of the year. I learned a lot. I killed my darlings, so I have a very different view of how the novel's going to go, or how I'm going to move forward with the novel. Um and then I realized that like this year's word needs to be discipline, which includes having goals and hitting those goals and being very strict with myself without being hard on myself. Last year's goals, I did not get, or last year's desires for writing, I did accomplish the short story. I got my poetry published, which was a big accomplishment for me. And I made way more progress on the novel than I ever had. So I was happy with that, considering I didn't set anything concrete for myself. But this year, I would like to, by the end of the year, have a draft completed. I think I'll be able to because now that I've killed my darlings, I'm just moving forward with one point of view.
Mm-hmm.
It will be theoretically easier to write. My current goal for myself is a chapter every 2 weeks. I've just finished my last chapter of edits that I had written before I made the kill my darlings moment. So that's one goal. I'm going to be pretty strict about it. And then a second goal is to be published twice again, because if I got published twice last year, then I can get published this year twice,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, with some short story stuff. So yeah, what about you? What are your worst? Do you have any?
Yeah, so the kind of the only writing goal that I'm going into the new year with is to finish the draft for A Night of Knives, just the first draft.
Mm-hmm.
But the outline's been done like for a while. I've gone back to that so many times,
Yeah.
thinking that I needed to rework stuff there. But I'm really happy with how the outline is. I don't feel like there's anything I need to tweak there. I just need to finish drafting.
Yeah. Nice.
Because I'm still about just under a third with like rewrites and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, but that's my main goal this year. And then, like I said, I do want to start work on another anthology. I think
Uh-huh.
just remains to be seen whether that would be published this year or next year. I'm leaning towards next year too,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
based off of how long like some of the stuff with Blades for Hire took.
Mm-hmm.
And then outside of that, I would like to finish a few short stories. Like obviously, if I do an anthology, one will have to go in there, and then I'll figure out where to submit the rest. But if
Yeah.
nothing else, I want to end the year with a complete draft. Because
Same.
I wanted to do that last year and I did not. So
Yeah.
this year, I'm really kind of just focused on that,
That's awesome.
getting that draft done because it's been haunting me for a little bit. So
Same, same. I'm having to readjust my outline a lot and like kind of trash a bunch of stuff.
mhm,
So I'm kind of in the middle of a pantser plotter moment where I know the beats, but now that I've removed the two other points of view, I kind of have to figure out like what gets revealed here and what gets revealed there, and like things info is missing now from a bunch of different perspectives. So anyway, I totally relate to not finishing the draft in the time frame you want, but I like that we're both trying to finish our draft this year. We can hold each other accountable.
yeah, yeah. I will say Quill and Query helps keep me somewhat accountable because I have to
Yeah.
at least talk about it a little bit. So it's like, yeah, I haven't written since the last episode. It's kind of
Yeah,
a badge of or a mark of shame when I come on and I have to say that.
that's true. Yeah, shame does
But I
work.
yeah. So, um, but yeah, I'm excuse me. We still got that lingering cough from the
It's all right.
sickness,
It's all
but
right. Take as many breaks as you need.
yeah. Um, but yeah, that's really the only goal I'm kind of giving myself this year is finish the draft.
That's a
Um,
good one though. That's a hard one too, and especially if like I don't know. I always get, and you do the same thing. I'm sure. It's just like work gets so exhausting, and I'm having to go
mhm,
back to to actual in office
mhm,
this year, which cuts down on a lot of like I have to commute and all that kind of stuff.
right.
Which I'm very lucky I've not had to do, but I also haven't been taking advantage fully of like working from home and writing as much as possible. So I'm hoping that having to be more structured with my time and be more cognizant of like time at work versus time at home
Yeah.
kind of helps kick things into gear as well. But it's hard, it's one of those things where it's like what's the I have to almost like give myself like if you hit this goal you get this prize or something
Yeah.
like
Right.
that, like to I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to reward myself because all work, no play makes Jack a
Hmm.
dull boy. And I don't want to start to like resent the process. But, I think Jeffrey in our last interview was like, what is it? Bachok, butt in chair, hands on keyboard. I'm trying
Yeah.
to
Yeah. He gave us the new.
really take that and take it to heart.
Yeah. Well, speaking of writing accomplishments, last year we
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
released Blades for Hire. I have one of the copies right next to me. You can pick it up on Amazon. Shameless plug.
No,
All profits
shameless.
still go
Buy
to
it. Buy it.
yeah.
Buy it.
All the profits still go to book trusts. So
That's great.
still, I have to. I think I said this in the Discord. I have to go through the textbooks now and make sure I didn't miss any of the
Oh
months because
yeah.
I think there was like 1 or 2 months where we had like one sale. So I was like, I'll just wait till it bumps up to because
Oh sure.
I think it's like $2 per sale. So I was like, I don't want to donate $2 at once. So it's
Yeah.
uh,
No, I get that.
but I got to make sure we're balanced because I have it like the way I have it for tax purposes. It can't
Sure.
be, and it's all supposed to go to the charity. So I got to make sure I didn't miss anything. But yeah, so Blaze for Hire. Sorry, I went off on a little tangent there.
No,
Um,
I love a tangent.
this was something we started in. It was 2024 when we started Blaze for Hire, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
because
think
it was
so.
we
Published in
released.
2025. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was February 2025 that we released. So long process. Definitely took longer than I thought it was going to at the start, but there was a lot of learning both in the writing process and the publishing process for me. Um, I know we've talked a lot about like what we learned throughout the process
Mhm.
of writing for Blaze for Hire and releasing it, but is there anything now that like we're almost a year out from publication um, that you've kind of realized in hindsight or any learnings you're kind of taking into like future projects or your writing this year or any highlights or anything you want to talk about with the experience of writing for the anthology?
Um, aside from kind of repeating myself with the goal, kind
Mm-hmm.
of just planning more and being more strict with myself about plotting things out, literally in terms of like the plot and structuring my writing sessions. I think just an affirmation that this is what I want to do. And regardless of how it happens, I think it was such a good reminder that community is really important and that people will want to read your stuff.
Mhm.
So that's one side. And then I think the other side, and I wasn't really even that involved in terms of like the creation of it, other than my story and then helping people with feedback, was how hard it is for independent and self publishing to kind of how it works, right? Like it's really hard. So many of the people I follow and we're friends with like do such a great job, but it takes so much work. And I don't think, I mean, you and I have been doing the podcast for about a year or at least a few months, most of a year in 2024. So I kind of like, I already knew about it, had like some grasp of the technicalities, but I just didn't realize how much goes into it. So I walked away
Yeah.
with a completely different appreciation and admiration for those who do just like fully self-publish and don't want to go the trad publishing route. And in particular, like advertising and marketing and getting it out there. It's just so complicated. So many moving
Yeah.
pieces, no matter how much help you have. So I think, yeah, I walked away with a huge admiration for people who just that's all they do is just self-publish their stuff and market their own thing. So yeah, and then just like writing process is like just fleshing things out more and slowing down and not rushing. I think those were my biggest takeaways. I'm sure you have very similar takeaways in terms of how hard it is to
Yes.
self-publish.
Yeah, definitely the first one is the same, where just I have much more respect for people who have to go through this
Yeah,
process, especially those who do it like multiple times throughout the year.
yeah,
Because I think the whole process of Blades Fire came out to be about a year,
yeah,
or slightly longer. So obviously we had multiple authors to, kind of, we all had to coordinate and finish at the same time. But I
yeah.
still think that even when you're doing it by yourself, it's still a tremendous amount of work.
Hmm.
And there are just so many aspects to it that are very time consuming, very tedious, especially when you're like uploading to KDP and you got to make sure it's formatted correctly, and
Yeah.
you got to make sure the cover is sized correctly, and it's off by 2 millimeters here, so Amazon
Yeah.
won't let you publish it. So you got to go back to the cover designer. They got to fix it. Yeah, there's so
Wild.
much that goes into it beyond just the writing and the editing and all of
Yeah.
that. And even if you outsource some of it, which I did for we paid a cover designer. Bex so graciously
Oh,
helped with the formatting
yeah. A saint.
after I had a very hard time with it. So even when you're outsourcing it, it is still so much to organize and coordinate. And so huge respect to
Yeah.
all the authors who do this, not only all on their own, but multiple times a year. And it really is a lot of work.
Yeah. No, totally. Oh, and how scary it is too. I think that's like another component that I didn't really realize is like
Hmm.
I and you in particular are also you're much more I'm not sharing much of my work at all until it's
Yeah.
ready. I don't mind necessarily sharing, but it was a trust of faith to I don't know, you put something out and you ask people to kind of like give feedback, and that's like the most nerve-wracking thing. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember getting my feedback and like sweating through my shirt. I was like, "Oh my gosh." But it was if you are working with really good people, even in like just like a self-published anthology capacity, people are so gracious and so kind and constructive and all of the adjectives. But I didn't realize how much it would take out of me, like emotionally, to like put a story
Yeah.
out there in ways like as a teenager, I was putting my stuff up on Wattpad like
Hmm.
at random. Like I didn't care. I was like, oh, everyone's gonna I could just the self-consciousness didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
And it does very much now exist deeply within me. But it was also a good reminder that like, people are there and they want to read your stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate to that a lot because I haven't shared writing like outside of like close friends and family
Yeah.
before the anthology for a long time. So sharing my short story in the Discord and then, putting it out there and stuff was
Yes.
definitely a nerve-wracking experience. But like you said, everyone's like you're always worried people are going to tear it apart and like hate
Yeah.
it and all of that. But I've generally found since then, most most feedback I've gotten, even if it's like critical, it you can tell it's constructive, and
Yeah.
it's all
Right.
coming from a good place. So
Right.
thankfully, I haven't had like a terrible experience where someone was like, "This sucks, don't ever write again."
I also haven't had that, which is really good. Here's a follow-up question for you though, and
Mhm.
I guess I'm asking out of me wanting it,
Yeah,
is do you think 2026 will be a year in which you share more about your work and are a little bit more open with updates, or is that still something that you're gonna kind of uh
yeah. So, are you
keep under
talking
wraps?
like more for A Night of Knives, like the
Yeah.
novel, or just in
Yes.
general? Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely want to. I think posting more updates will keep me more accountable to
Yeah.
finishing the draft, which is my goal.
Okay.
So I definitely want to post more updates, especially on my blog of like just progress updates. Here's little snippets and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, I am trying to find when it comes to like sharing like excerpts and things like that, the right, I guess the right time to do that because my worry when like my worry is if I put say chapter 1 out there, now I
Yeah.
can't change chapter 1 too much. And I know that's not true. You can totally do that, but
Yeah.
you know, I guess I'm worried about sharing something too soon. That's
Mm.
my main worry. But I definitely want to try sharing more of Night of Knives in the new year. So we'll
Nice.
see where that takes me. I don't really have any like solid plans yet, but I do want to start putting more of it out there because I can only talk about it so vaguely for so long. So it's
Yes. And I would like to read more. So
yeah.
selfishly, I'm like, even if you just want to share it with me, I mean, but no,
Well,
I also
yeah.
totally get that too. I kind of felt the same way. It's why I took it off my website,
Mhm.
mine, because I was like, ooh, I edited it and I've gotten feedback and they're like, holy cow, this is like way better than it was a couple years ago.
Mhm.
So I totally get the fear of like putting something out that might change or just like not exist in the final version. But
Yeah.
you know, I guess it sounds like you do have people who you're like writing partners with or you can share and get feedback on like as the process goes along because I found that to be the most helpful so far, at least in the last few months, is like
Yeah.
I only have one writing partner. I would like to have more she's great. I love her, but
Yeah.
more voices, more feedback and
Yeah.
things
More
like
eyes
that.
on your work and
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
exactly. And just kind of like different perspectives. So I would like to, with a close, tight knit group, just be able to freely just be like, here's the updated chapter, here's a new chapter, like thoughts or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'm as I get back into my draft, definitely open to sharing with you at least. Maybe not on my website, but maybe we could, but
Yes.
I could swap
Secret time.
a Night of Knives chapter for a Filthy Hunger chapter.
I like that. We'll have to do it. Oh, a chapter swap is fun. That's a cool concept. We could do
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a chapter swap. I like that. I like it.
Well, yeah, I don't really have a lot more to say on Blaze Fire. I feel like a lot of the learnings that I've had from it have kind of remained the same, and I'm really
Yeah.
excited to take like now that I understand the process so much better to take that into a new anthology and do
Yeah,
even better this time, and
for sure.
yeah, so it's just it was a really fun learning experience and great time collaborating with all the wonderful authors who contributed.
I was thinking that too. I if we ever do another one, I would like to, even if I'm not included, because I think having some newer, fresh voices would be great too. But even if it's the same cohort, like they were such a good cohort, but I would like to. I should have been more involved. So that's what I also took away of like I didn't. I learned some, but I didn't learn enough, and so that's kind of what I'm taking into the next anthology if it happens is like just being more involved and learning more. So yeah.
Yeah. And Nicole says, I'm right here just saying, I think she's talking about like
Okay,
for writing
Nicole.
feedback and chapter previews.
All
We'll
right.
definitely keep you in mind for that, Nicole.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I just noticed I put this as like the fourth topic in the doc, but we kind of already touched on it. So if you don't have anything to add, totally fine. But
I don't think so. No.
yeah, I was gonna talk about highs and lows, but I think we
Yeah,
already touched on a lot
you
of those
did.
for reading and writing.
It was a pretty quiet year all around. I mean, other than the
Hmm.
anthology, it was really just like a learning year for me, I think. And some years are like that over other. I mean, there were successes, like the highs was the anthology and the poetry for me, and I know the anthology for you as well. And
Hmm.
keeping up with Quill and Query, like we
Yeah.
consistently have been. It'll be our second year this year, which is
Hmm.
pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, I think it was a big coming to Jesus moment year
Yeah.
for me personally.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Quill and Query, I'll just jump over to the last
Yeah, do it, do it.
topic then. I know we haven't really talked too much about it lately, but
Yeah.
going into 2026, obviously we're still doing Quill and Query as of right now.
Mhm.
Um, Still planning on doing it on our usual days. I think, you know, stop me if I'm wrong here, but I think we're going to try to keep the same trajectory where we get
Mhm.
our indie author interviews and bring you guys the latest publishing news and kind of just
Mhm.
business as usual. Maybe, you know, never say never to changing our format or our flow or anything, because we always try
Sure.
to adapt as we go to what people seem to engage with more and what they seem to like.
Mhm.
But yeah, is there anything you want to put out that you are looking forward to in the new year with Quill and Query, or anything you think we should aim for in 2026? This is your spot to like put me on the spot, since we didn't talk about it before, where I can't like
No, no,
turn it
no.
down.
I know we didn't. That was my bad. I know I was like, I have things to talk about, and then just like never followed
No,
up
I should
because
have
of
brought
the
this one up
holidays and
before too.
stuff.
So
No, no, no. I think I'm really excited to keep going. I love this. I look forward to it every couple weeks. I'm glad that we switched to the 2 week format because I think
mhm,
every week would have been a little too much. Um, I think my goals for Quill and Query in the new year are one, more interviews. I think people have really been, at least I'm assuming so, because we don't really get a lot of interaction with our followers. So
mhm,
coupled with what I'm about to say, but I would like to continue with the author interviews because I find it's just been great to get other voices out there, and I would like to eventually expand to like local booksellers and bookstore kind of entrepreneurs in the book space in
mhm,
general, not even like just booksellers but like local agents and things like that, people we can actually really dive into and ask questions as well, because the authors are fantastic, but I'd like to expand the reach. I'd also like to get more followers. I think that's my ultimate goal for both of us. We both are bad in the kindest way. I'm the worst for sure.
yeah,
You handle everything else about Quill and Query, but I'm so bad at the marketing component.
I am too. Marketing is my weakest
It sucks
for
so
the anthology, for the
bad.
podcast, for everything. It's just because it's like after you've done all the work for everything, now here's more work.
Right.
It's
With
yeah,
what
it's rough.
time? Yeah, with what time? No, I think I'm sure you agree too. It's like I have an app to limit my apps, right? Like I try and stay
Yeah.
below 3.5 hours a day on my phone so that I just
Hmm.
like don't. So thinking about adding more onto that seems daunting, but I have to change my mindset in the regard that like I want Quill and Query to be more successful in the future. And so that just means putting in some additional work. That doesn't mean mindless scrolling on my phone.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
that's very different. And I, up until recently, have been putting them in the same boat. And I'm like,
Hmm.
one is actually beneficial, one is not. Um, so yeah, more followers, more people who like to engage and like converse with us and like show up. I love Nicole. I love our friends who do show up and chat with us, but I would like more of that. And I think, maybe do some cool like investigative deep dives on topics. I think AI has been like a huge topic and it's the one we get the most engagement on. So like maybe do
Hmm.
some like longer form subject topics, like this crazy thing about AI and copyright came out, and we're gonna kind of talk more about that. Anyway, just some ideas. But otherwise, I think it's been fun. It's been great. I've been enjoying it. I would like more people to enjoy it too. So yeah. What
Yeah.
about you, Brandon? You got any? I don't
Yeah.
think I put you on the spot.
No, it's I'm I think I might have said this last year, but more followers, more engagement are obviously like my two biggest goals. Because the engagement, especially because I want to know what people are enjoying, what they're not, liking so
Yeah.
much, so we can adapt to that.
Mhm.
Um, and one of the things that gets us the most engagement as far as like likes and comments and things like that is the clips. And I've been falling behind in the clips a little bit, so I will be catching up shortly. I don't know if I said this at the beginning of the episode. I was sick for about a week, so my clip editing time went out the window. Um, but I plan to get back on that so that the clips will be back to their regular schedule. And then, yeah, like you said, just bringing on more industry professionals, not just authors. I think last year we had Tess, the
Yeah, Tess is
narrator,
great.
and that was a great
Yeah.
episode. So if we can bring on like cover designers, agents,
Yeah.
and like you said, local booksellers and stuff like that, I think that just more perspectives
Mhm.
from the publishing industry and the book space in general, I think would be great. So,
Yeah. And here's a moment to ask the crowd, or
mhm.
our followers who do listen regularly, Nicole included, like, what I know we've asked this before, but truly, like, what do you want to see from us? What topics do you want us to delve into more? What do you dislike hearing us talk about? Like, truly, I think feedback is the one thing that we're really lacking, and it's like
Yeah,
we can't improve upon things that we don't know what to improve upon. So we cannot be a better podcast for our listeners if we don't get that feedback. So if you make it to the end of our videos, it's like,
I will put
yeah,
this as one of the clips as well, just the
there we
asking
go.
for
Yeah.
feedback. So
Yeah. Do we need better edit? Like, not that you
yeah,
don't do a good enough editing, but like,
but
do we
yeah,
need more
if the
going
ed,
on?
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's like my biggest ask is just people to be honest about what we can do better. Because we've done a good job, I think, of like with the interviews and things like that, but we never really get any constructive feedback on how we can improve. So that's my number one. I think you had a goal, and I liked this one, so I'm going to put you on the spot on this one. But I
okay,
think it was like once we hit a number of followers, like we'll do
mhm.
like a Discord,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then my follow up to that one was like a book club. Like we could have a Quill and Query book club.
yeah.
We can
I
have everyone
still,
like vote on the book and kind of have like an open discussion about it. So those are some ideas that we can do.
mhm.
But I don't think we'll do any if we don't know people will like them. So
I definitely still want to do the Discord and the book club.
yeah,
Going back and forth between like when we hit 150 subscribers on YouTube or 250, kind of just depends on
ooh,
engagement. I mean,
yeah,
it won't hurt to put it out early. It'll just be a little quiet if not a lot of people join right
sure,
away. But I feel like Discord's one of those things that can grow over time. Like you won't miss the window on that.
yeah,
So
yeah. And I think
that
Discord's a great idea, like in terms of like what we did with the anthology. I know I'm sure so many of our listeners are already on Discord, but like being
mhm.
able to be like, here's what I'm working on. I'd like some feedback, or like, here's my problem. Does anyone have like a cover artist, like a good hub for that? I
Yeah,
know there are tons of channels out there already that I'm sure are doing the same thing, but if you like listening to us, might
yeah.
be fun. Yeah. I'm bad at Discord, but I will be better about Discord.
I'm bad at managing a Discord server, but
Mm.
I have been practicing and reading up
I
on things. So we'll
I think you
like
did a great job with the anthology Discord.
I will say managing a Discord of 12 people versus like one that you plan to be like 100 plus people is very different.
Sure, sure, sure.
Like I'm a moderator in the Game of Thrones one, and
Ah,
it took a while to get that one to be like stable and civil.
yeah,
Um,
I'm sure. Oh, people
so
get so
it's
heated about their opinions. I'm sure it's like,
yeah,
oh,
it's
yeah,
but it's great over there. It's there's a lot of great opinions and
yeah,
good people. But yeah, just managing all the activities and the moderation and stuff can be tricky. So,
yeah. That's true.
but yeah, definitely still want to do that, and we'll kind of figure out the timing on it. Probably, I would imagine based on like our growth last year, definitely sometime this year, we
Yeah,
would have the
yeah,
Discord.
for sure.
Don't have an exact time frame in mind, but
Well, if the people say do it at 150 so we can get it sooner, then
mhm.
we can say, or 150. Yeah, like 150. I liked, yeah, 250 though seems more robust, so we'll have to play it by ear, but yeah.
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 I and on the note of feedback too, I wish YouTube would give me YouTube already gives you great analytics. I will say, I don't
Mhm.
engage with it a ton as much as I should. But I wish they would give me like a point. They'll tell you like watch time and stuff like that, but I don't
Yeah.
think. Last I checked, it didn't tell you like when people drop off or where they skip. That
Oh,
would be super helpful if they
yeah.
did do that,
That
because
would
then
be
it would like
helpful.
let me know. Oh, people
Oh,
aren't really
interesting.
watching this segment, so I'll have to check back soon and see if they've added that functionality in or if it's coming soon. But
Yeah. That would
in the
be so
meantime,
helpful.
yeah,
It's
in
like,
the
oh, like we
meantime,
need to cut out
rely
this
on it.
segment.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, but yeah, any feedback is welcome, and we are always looking for ways to improve and make this
Yeah.
an even better listening experience for everybody. Also, I feel like my voice is going more the longer I talk, so I apologize
Oh,
if.
that's okay. We can also wrap it up here because I know, again, you are in recovery. So it's usually, we
Yeah.
usually wrap it up with like the Quill and Query stuff anyway. So
Mhm.
it's been almost an hour. We can
Yeah, well,
call it.
I think we touched on
Yeah.
all the topics. So,
Yeah.
is there anything else you wanted to say in, farewell to 2025 or?
Thanks for everyone who followed us in 2025. We're so glad you're here. Please continue to follow us. Not just because we want more followers, but because we really want to uplift the indie self-published community. We want to help authors like ourselves who are learning as we go. So please continue to support us. Please share, subscribe, the whole shebang. But also thank you so much for supporting us um, so far. And yeah, if you guys want anything, let us know. We will be happy to provide. But yeah, I'm looking forward to 2026, providing more interviews, deep diving into some stuff, and I think we've got some good things to look forward to this year.
I will echo the same sentiments. I don't have a whole lot
Ditto.
to add. Yeah, it's thank you to everyone who
Yeah.
has stuck with us. Our regular viewers, our new viewers, everybody who
Yep.
subscribed and engaged with our clips. And yeah, just let us know what you want to see, what you don't want to see,
Mm-hmm.
and look forward to an exciting 2026 with you all.
Sounds good. All right. Bye, y'all. Bye, Brandon.
All right, see you guys.
See you later.